If you have pain at the bottom of your bench, if you are struggling getting under the squat bar, if you have a hard time pressing, this video is going to be for you because we're going to uncover the one muscle that is wreaking havoc on your movements. So be sure to stick around to the end because we're going to dive into what this muscle is and what we can do to fix it. Before we do all that, make sure you go like, subscribe, do all the things so you're not missing out on any of these videos. Now, the muscle that gives you the greatest grief is called the subscap, okay? Subscapularis. So this is one of your rotator cuff muscles, and it is specifically for internal rotation, right? So going down, going behind your back. So for us as lifters, it's going to be hard to get under a squat rack because we're really having to open up. We're having to get into that external rotation position. We might have pain at the bottom of a bench, overhead, just because if it's tight, what it wants to do is pull us forward. So again, this is one of the rotator cuff muscles. So its primary job is to internally rotate the arm. It helps to stabilize the shoulder when you're doing any of these movements. And we want to make sure that that thing is nice and stable and strong so that it can help keep things stable under a load. Okay, but the problem is if this thing is too weak or too tight, it can cause you a lot of problems. So in bench press, what do we normally see? How can you tell, like, hey, is this my problem? Is this not my problem? So a lot of times, pain at the bottom of the bench, we are trying to extend the shoulder. We are trying to really get down so that we can press, right? So basically, what we're seeing is that the humerus, right, the shoulder bone, it can pop forward, but if that subscap is tight, that might be pulling that shoulder forward a little too much, and it could be causing some front-sided shoulder pain. What are we seeing in a squat? So if we can't externally rotate, right, so that is where the palm is going back, the elbow is staying here, palm is going back. If we can't do that, if we can't get under the bar, if we can't pull our elbows forward to really solidify that brace, chances are it's something with your subscap. Now, there are obviously other muscles, right? But one of the biggest players that I see is the subscap. So it is preventing us from pulling those elbows forward and getting that arm back behind our shoulder. A couple things that we can do to test it out, right? Like I've been showing you, we can go out like this, we can go back like this, but if we're having pain with some of those movements and we're having a hard time getting back, right? It's not necessarily painful, or it could be painful. Fun caveat. If we're having a hard time opening that shoulder up, then it can be that subscap, all right? So what happens is it can be either weak and tight, or it can just be like overpowerful. The muscles on the back side of your shoulder aren't as strong as the internal rotators. I've seen it both ways. Things are just super tight because they're weak. Things are just super tight because it's super strong, and we're mostly like chest dominated. It can be tight from the overuse. It can be compensating for something else. So what we want to do again is we want to test it. And you can do this. You can record yourself, compare both sides. If this side is moving fine, but this side's not, then that kind of clues us into, hey, maybe there's something a little wrong here. There's something a little different. So we can do that. Now, what we want to do, I've said this in other videos, but we don't want to just like hit the mobility and call it a day. What we want to do is systematically do this. One, we want to find the root cause. We want to make sure that it's truly the subscap, right? But then beyond that, we want to hit mobility, stability. Then we want to go into some strengthening, because what we want to do and what so many people fail at is we open the shoulder up. Great. Then they don't do anything to strengthen in that new position. We want to open the shoulder up. Then we want to strengthen the backside of the shoulder so that, hey, maybe before I could only get here, but now I'm able to get all the way back here because I opened my shoulder up. But now we want to make sure that things stay lengthened, right, with the subscap. We want to make sure that we're getting that full contraction of the opposing muscles. So my favorite exercise, and I'll link it down below, and I can show you right here, it is the subscap release. Basically, you're doing what's called a pin and stretch. So you can lay on your back, and you're basically finding where that subscap is. You basically go into your armpit, and you're going to pin it. I like to just put it on slack, So like this, find it, and then you rotate back. I like to do it more on the floor because that shoulder blade is going to be pinned and it doesn't move around as much. But then we want to rotate. We want to pin and rotate through that full range of motion. That is by far one of my favorite exercises for this. There are a few other ways that we can hit it, but that's the one that seems the most efficient. What we want to do after that is again go back into the strengthening. So what I might have people do is do the subscap release, then work on a PVC external rotation, right? Where we're passively getting some extra motion, and then we go in and do some kind of banded external rotation. So that sequence of those 3 exercises are what I use to open up hundreds and hundreds of shoulders so that we can bench pain-free, even at the bottom of a bench. We can overhead press. We can get under a squat bar. All of those things are very important for pain-free lifting. So the takeaway, this muscle is not evil, right? It is very important to overall shoulder health. However, it can get very neglected. It can get very tight. It can get overused. It can be weak. So what we want to do is we want to do that pin and stretch, but we also want to make sure that it is strengthening. And this is where something like an assessment could be very important because you're not just, hey, I saw this chick do these 3 things online and I'm good. I have no problem. But if it's tight because it's weak and it's trying to like clamp down, chances are you're going to need some strengthening of that, right? And so you have to know which way to go and what exercises to do. And that's why finding the root cause of everything is so important. If your shoulder pain has been holding you back in squat, bench, overhead press, whatever it is, this is your sign to dig a little bit deeper, both literally and figuratively. But if you want to tackle this one-on-one, you want to collapse the time that it takes to go from pain to pain-free lifting, I want you to shoot me a text. I'm going to drop my number down below. Shoot me a text, say P3. I'm going to know that you watched this video and we're going to figure out exactly what's going on so that we can collapse that time that it takes for you to go from pain to pain-free PRs. And honestly, I want you to give this a shot. I want you to let me know how it goes. I will warn you, it is not the most pleasant exercise, but it is so daggum efficient at what it does. It'll be worth a little bit of pain. If you have any questions, reach out to me. Shoot me a text with your questions. I want to help you hit that next level of pain-free PRs. All right, see you on the next one.